Hello. About 9 weeks ago, I suffered a severe ankle injury, which resulted in a fracture dislocation. It was a severe injury, and unfortunately, my mountain biking plans and running plans came to a sudden halt. Um, I required plates in both the tibia and fibula, and in an operation which took around about half a day to complete. So, a severe injury and the prospect of something like a year to a year and a half of gradual recovery. Right from the very start, I put in place measures to ensure that I'd make the best possible recovery. At 61 years of age, a full recovery was not looking very good, but let's show you how I'm going. This is at 9 weeks. And also, I'm going to demonstrate exercises that I have been doing which have helped my recovery. So I'll just set this camera up and I'll give a demonstration. The first thing I'd like you to have a look at is that you can see some visible wasting of my left calf muscle, and the left ankle joint is a little bit thicker and more swollen than my skinny right ankle. I've got naturally very skinny ankles, and the recovery is going to be signified by the gradual reduction of the swelling in the left ankle. You can see just 3 weeks out of plaster that it's not too bad. The other thing that you can see is that my arch of my left foot is actually every bit as good as my right foot. One of the things that often happens is that the foot will splay outwards and the arch will collapse, or the foot is pronating, is how it's referred to. Now, I'll just demonstrate one of the things which, this is an exercise in itself, but just balancing on the injured ankle. This is one of the best measures of recovery. Now this does hurt a little bit while I'm doing this, but you can see that I'm holding that balance not too bad. In fact, very well. Even a few days ago, there was no way I could have balanced like this and maintained it for more than about 5 or 10 seconds. So I think I could hold this for a very long time. It's not so easy to do when trying to talk and trying to think about what I'm going to say next, but hey, I'm managing. And this is great because it shows that the proprioception, or the messages from my ankle to my balance mechanisms, is intact and working very well, and I've got good strength and stability in the ankle joint, which was severely injured. Just as an aside, if you have a look here, that flesh was peeled back and there is a plate and a whole lot of screws in there. It's almost impossible. You have to look very, very close to see the scar tissue. This gives an indication of just how great my healing's been. Bearing in mind my age, this is remarkable. There's also scars on the front of the foot, just in this region here. Again, almost difficult to see. I can't see it from this angle, but that's not bad when you think it's only about 9 weeks. That should be a very visible scar. Screws were inserted in there, and on this side here, you can see where this was again peeled back and screws inserted and a plate, and again the scar is very, very tidy, very nice. That's through the nutritional strategies which I used, and you can see a little bit about it on my blog. Now, exercises, one of course is just balancing. The other is simply doing a heel raise. Now this is about as high as I can comfortably go. I can go a little bit higher. With all of these, you start low, go slow. You just take your time. There's no hurry. And just pushing up, being careful not to splay the foot out so that it it collapses. Okay, none of this. So nice and straight, keeping the ankle and the foot nicely in line with the knees, and just going up. Now, one of the things which is a real problem with any kind of ankle injury, be it a sprain or a fracture or dislocation or a combination of all of those, is the loss of foot posture. Excessive pronation is what it's called, where the foot collapses and the foot will tend to splay outwards when walking. Now, so this exercise is very important. Now, what you can do is put your feet slightly toeing inwards and then coming up, keeping your big toe on the ground, but coming slightly over onto the little toe. Now, if you look carefully, I'll go over to the injured foot as I'm doing this. Let's do this from this angle. You can see the arch lift when I go up slightly onto my little toe. I'm still keeping my weight spread across the front of the foot. So you can see how my big toe is staying on the ground. I'm not lifting that up, but I'm coming onto my little toe, a little bit onto the side of the foot there, and that's strengthening the muscles which hold the arch in a nice strong position. The muscle, in case you're wondering, is called Tibialis Posterior, that I'm working there, so that when I put my weight on my foot does not collapse. It's a nice strong arched leaf spring which stores energy and then releases it when you push off. Very important to be able to run efficiently in the future. Other exercises I do is, and it's really important to gradually restore movement, is just simply going back so as to stretch this part of the foot here, just to open up the ankle joint a little bit. Now, when you're doing exercise to restore normal movement in an injured limb, I think it's really important not to be taking painkillers. You don't want to be deadening the pain feedback systems. Pain is your friend during rehabilitation. If it hurts, you know that it's time to back off. So what I'm doing here is I'm going back just as far as it starts to hurt, and I'm gauging the pain. I'm not afraid of pain. The pain's telling me how much further I can go back without causing any damage. Now, of course there's a little pain, but you've got to just sort of figure out how much pain can I put up with such that I can repeat these exercises again tomorrow. So I've done enough of it. Now I'm going to do this exercise where I'm just going forward and just stretching the back of the ankle, but it actually hurts me the most in here because all of this got completely wrenched out, and so there's a lot of scarring and a lot of swelling, and I've just got to ease into it. So just doing that, just gradually nudging forward using pain as my guide. Sit here and being careful not to allow my foot to collapse like I'm doing here. Okay, so a nice straight stretch, kneecap over the big toe, or between the big toe and the second toe. If I'm looking down, I'm going just over my big toe and the next one. Okay, and just stretching forward and back, just doing this carefully. Other exercises is just simply stretching the dorsum of the foot and the toes. Again, for me to do this, this actually hurts a lot. So I can only put a little bit of pressure. This is sort of like a severe sprain, isn't it? Yeah. It's like spraining my toes, my foot. But it's funny, isn't it? It hurts, but it actually feels nice to do. So I'll just keep doing this and just moving the ankle. You can roll it a little bit, and all the while just easing into it. Take your time. With all of these, you don't need to do anything drastic. Just easing into it, and so that's that. And of course, just doing all the movements that the foot can do. And so on. Okay, so these are the exercises, very simple. I am doing a bit of walking, but walking's really quite painful, and I, at the moment, can only do about maybe 200 meters at a time without having to stop. Now, in between exercise, it's really important that you put the leg up, raise it so that you minimize any swelling. Exercise tends to counter swelling to a large degree because of the pumping effect of the muscle contraction and relaxation. But the worst thing you can do with a lower limb injury is to stay still, standing or sitting. If you're going to be still, then the best thing to do is raise the leg and lie back a little bit like in an easy chair and keep the leg elevated. I've mentioned a little bit about painkillers. I've used very, very little. I've just largely ignored the pain. Sometimes it's been considerable. The only time that I've had to take painkillers outside of hospital, in other words, the first 2 days after the injury and surgery, was to get to sleep at times. There have been some nights when I've just had to take something in order to get to sleep and to stay asleep. So what you can see here, as I'm doing that, the muscle is coming back already. There is a difference between the two calf muscles, but got to remember that I've only had 3 weeks out of plaster. I've been completely immobilized. So that's a wonderful recovery so far. I'll post another video at some stage to show you what I'm doing in the way of cycling. Cycling has been my saviour with this, and I am back cycling now, but taking it very, very carefully. The cycling's not the problem. It's the getting off and on and being careful not to put my foot down quickly. And but more about that later. I hope you find this motivating. If you have yourself suffered an injury like this and you need help, you're most welcome to get hold of me. No problem. Okay, thank you very much.